Holding space is about showing up authentically and creating safety in the moments that matter most. From parenting littles to navigating friendships and partnerships, I reframe tantrums, conflicts, and messy feelings as invitations to connection. I'm Julia Clark, a psychotherapist and play therapist with over 30 years of experience walking alongside children, families, and the people who care for them. Each episode explores the building blocks of emotional literacy, co-regulation, and boundaries, while honoring the intergenerational stories we carry within. Blending science with lived wisdom, I believe growth is playful, healing is possible, and we are all learning together. Hi, I'm Julia, and together we're holding space. Bedtime. For some families, it's calm and predictable, but for many, it's where everything unravels. The stalling, the just one more, the sudden burst of energy, the tears that seem to come out of nowhere, and that quiet question that can sit underneath it all. Why won't they just go to sleep? Today, I want to gently shift how we understand that moment, because bedtime isn't just about sleep. It's about separation, it's about safety, and it's about the nervous system trying to settle at the end of a full day. The attachment lens, the secure base. There's a foundational concept from Mary Ainsworth called the secure base. Ainsworth observed that when children feel securely attached, they move out into the world with more confidence. They explore, take risks, engage with others, because they trust there's a safe place to return to. That return matters just as much as the exploration. It goes connection, separation, and return, over and over again. This rhythm shapes how a child experiences safety. And when we look at bedtime through this lens, we begin to see something different. Bedtime is one of the most consistent daily experiences of separation. The lights go off, the room quiets, and your child is asked to let go of proximity, of interaction, of you. So when a child resists sleep, it's not simply about not being tired. It's often the nervous system asking, will the connection still be here when I wake up? Is it safe to let go right now? And the more sensitive the nervous system, the louder that question can feel. Why bedtime can feel so big. All day long, your child has been taking things in. Sensory input, social dynamics, expectations, and transitions. Even moments that seem small to us can accumulate in their bodies. And bedtime is where the body finally begins to slow down enough to process it all. But when the body slows down, those feelings rise up. So what we often see is tiredness that looks like hyperactivity, overwhelm that looks like silliness, and disconnection that looks like clinginess. And those familiar bedtime moments, one more hug, one more question, please stay with me, are not strategies to delay sleep. They're attempts to regulate. Let's look at the nervous system at night. As your child moves towards sleep, their nervous system is shifting states. From alert to calm, from engagement to rest, and from connection to separation. And for many children, that shift doesn't feel smooth. It can feel like falling, so they reach for your voice, your presence, your reassurance, because connection is what helps the nervous system feel safe enough to let go. A story from a parent. A parent once shared with me that bedtime felt like a nightly struggle with her daughter. She would leave the room, and within minutes, her daughter would call her back. Water, another hug, I can't sleep, over and over again. The mom's initial instinct was to tighten the boundary, to stop going back in. But when we slowed it down, we saw something underneath. Her daughter wasn't trying to stay awake. She was trying to stay connected long enough for her body to settle. So we shifted the approach. Instead of leaving quickly, she stayed just a little longer, sat beside her, softened her tone, placed her hand on her back, and over time, something changed. The calling out decreased, the settling came more easily, and not because the rule changed, but because the nervous system felt safer. What this looks like in real life. With younger children, you guide them back to bed and say softly, your body's having a hard time settling tonight. You stay just a moment longer, not to fix it, but to support the landing. With older children, you might say, sometimes when our bodies are really tired, it actually feels harder to fall asleep. You're making sense of the experience instead of pushing against it. With teens, we look beyond just go to bed. Is there anxiety, disconnection, a need for more time to decompress? Because even teens need a felt sense of safety before rest. In the playroom, separation shows up in the play. Characters leaving, hiding, and returning. And we support it not by correcting, but by staying present with it. The parent's nervous system. And this is the piece we don't always name. Bedtime doesn't just activate your child's nervous system. It can activate yours. The pressure to get them to sleep, the desire for the day to be done, the belief that it should look a certain way. And sometimes underneath that, there can be something deeper. A sense of, I should be able to handle this. Or why is this so hard? Or am I doing something wrong? Or even old attachment echoes, moments where you didn't feel soothed, or where big emotions at night weren't met with connection for you. So when your child resists bedtime, it can stir something in you that feels bigger than the moment itself. And this is where gentleness matters, not just towards your child, but towards yourself. Shifting bedtime from battle to connection. So what helps? Not perfection, not rigid control, but small, consistent signals of safety. Connection before separation. A few minutes of full presence before bed. A predictable rhythm, the same flow each night. Gentle transitions, softening the shift into sleep. Regulating yourself first, because your calm becomes their anchor. And these are the same pieces we'll continue exploring in our next episode, how co-regulation supports transitions through tone, breath, and rhythm. Let's take a breath here together. Inhale. Exhale. Notice your body. What does bedtime feel like for you? Is there tension? Urgency? A pull to rush or fix? And gently ask, what do I believe this moment should look like? Is there any fear here about getting it right, about being enough, about how this reflects on you? And then just soften. Not to change anything, but to bring a little more space into the experience. Bedtime isn't just the end of the day. It's a return to connection, a return to safety, a moment where the nervous system says, "Can I let go now?" And when we meet that moment with presence, with steadiness, with just a little more softness, we help the body say yes. This is part of our Holding Space series where we bring compassion and understanding to the moments that feel the hardest. Thank you for being here and for holding space with me. If the content of this podcast really resonated with you and you'd like to go even deeper, I'd love to invite you to step into this work more fully. Beyond the podcast, there are many ways that we can connect. Individual therapy for your child, parent coaching or support for yourself, and deeper I Am sessions that explore intergenerational patterns. Additionally, I also offer webinar workshops and weekend retreats for parents, classes, intensive trainings and supervision for therapists, and large group presentations for educators or school presentations. Each are designed to help us hold space for the next generation of children in safe, attuned, and meaningful ways. You can learn more and explore what fits best for you at clarity.family.